Hey friends, so it is week 2 of data and we are going to be looking at stem and leaf plots. Interesting name, but there is a reason. So stem and leaf plots really only work with numbers. It's the best way to represent multiples of numbers if you are looking at data that is collected by numbers. So I'm going to take you through how we break apart stem and leaf plot data. I'm also going to tell you why it is called stem and leaf plot. All right, so here is our data that we are going to be breaking down. So on one side, this is our actual data. Right here, this is our stem and leaf bones, our outline that we're going to be working with. So if you notice, it's like a T-chart that isn't right in the center. So on one side, it has it labeled as stem. On the other side, it's labeled as leaf. I'm going to show you how we break this all apart, but there's a few parts of the stem and leaf plot that you need to know first. The first thing is, when you are breaking apart the data, we're actually going to be pulling apart these numbers and separating them. So it is different. It's a little tricky just because you have to make sure that when you're writing the number, you write it out correctly. But once you get used to it, it becomes a lot easier. One thing I want to point out to you is our key that we're going to be using here at the bottom. I know this looks like a 1. It actually isn't. That's the line. That's actually right here in between our stem and leaf at the top. So what it's showing you is that this 3 right here is the stem. This 6 right here is the leaf. So if you have a 3 on one side for the stem, then any leaves that come off of that stem are going to be in the 30s. Okay? And I'm going to explain that to you further as we go through the data. So as I look at my stems, they already have them there for me. 0, 1, 2, and 3. What it wants you to do is take these numbers that were collected and put them in numerical order, but not just numerical order on the leaves, numerical order going down the stem as well. Okay, so if I were to look for all of the numbers that were in the ones place, okay? So this stem is telling me, think of this as your tens place right here. All of these numbers are your tens place, okay? So I'm looking for any number that was only in the ones place, because if it has a 0 for the tens place, that means there is no tens place. So I'm looking for numbers that go from 1 to 9, okay? So I'm going to circle those for now. So I have a 6. I have another 6. I have a 9. I have another 6. I have a 4. And I have a 5. Okay? These numbers were not put in order from least to greatest. The easiest thing to do is to go stem by stem by stem and then rewrite them in order from least to greatest, because as you write them out as a leaf, they have to go from least to greatest, okay? So I'm going to look at my numbers on this side, and I'm going to decide out of these numbers that I've circled, which one is the least. Well, I can tell that 4 is the least, right? And I only have one 4, so I'm going to cross that out. My next one would be 5, so I'm going to put a comma. 5. I only have one 5. I'm going to go ahead and cross that one out. Now, I have 3 6s. There's no difference in these 6s. They're all just 6s. So I'm going to list them out, but I have to make sure and list out the 3. So 6, 6, and 6. So now I can cross out, cross out, cross out. And then my last one is a 9. And then I can go ahead and cross that one out. So what my data is showing me so far is that Carla's, let's see what we're even looking at here. I guess I should have read that first, huh? Carla rolled 2 dice and multiplied the numbers to find their product. create a stem and leaf plot to represent the data. Oh, okay, cool. So she was rolling dice, multiplying the dice, and then seeing what products she got. So she got a 4, she got a 5, she got 3 6s, and she got a 9. Now those are just my numbers that were in the ones place. But remember, we're gonna go down our stem and we're gonna go to the next place. So this would be the tens place. Any numbers that have a 1 in the tens place need to be circled now. So I have 12, 15, 12 again, 16, 12 again, and 12 again. Okay, so writing the numbers in the ones place, pretty simple. We know that this is what those numbers would look like. A 4 looks like that, a 15 looks like that. So what I'm going to show you now is how it differs when you move down the stem and your tens place is on this side of your chart. This 1 is taking care of the 1 for all of these numbers. I don't have to come to this side and write a 12 for my leaf or write a 15 for my leaf. Because remember, I made myself a key. If there's a 3 on the stem side and a 6 on the leaf side, I know that this equals 36. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to plot the leaves only, and that's going to be the numbers that are in the ones place. I still have to go in order. So I'm going to start out with my smallest number that I circled, and it looks like, oops, I circled 1, 2, 3, 4 12s. Now remember, I'm not going to write out 12 4 times. I'm instead going to write out 2 4 times because this 1 in my stem already took care of the tens place. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I can cross those out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crossed out. So remember, your key tells you this is your line. Your stem is on one side, your leaf is on the other. If I have a 1 on this side and a 2 on this side, I know that this is actually a 12. Just like these two numbers put together, that's a 12. So now I'm going to go to my next number. My next one is a 15. Same thing. I don't have to write that 1. I'm only going to write the 5. Cross it out. And then my last one is 16. No need to write the 1, just the 6. So with that, we took care of all of the numbers that were in the tens. Now we're moving on to the 20s. Remember, this is your tens place. So these were all your teens. Now we're moving on to 20s. So I'm going to circle, I have 1, 2, 3. I only have 3. Same process. You are only going to write the leaves, not the stems. So I have 2 20s. So those would be my smallest. And then 1 25. Cross that out. And then it looks like I only have one number in the 30s. So I'm going to put a 6 on this side, and I'm going to cross that out. So now you have your numbers in order, but you didn't have to write all of the numbers however many times, okay? So it breaks it down for you. So the reason it's called stem and leaf is because, well, here is your stem. And think of these as all of your leaves coming off of the stem, okay? That's why it's called that. All right. So it is asking us, let's look at our questions now. So now that we have the data broken down, when we have our stem and leaf plot and it's made correctly, we can start looking at the questions so we can use this plot to help us analyze our data, okay? So it says how many products were collected. So how many times did she multiply and get a product? All I have to do is count my numbers right here. Remember, these numbers all count as one of those products. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So she collected 16 products. How many rolls were exactly 12? Okay, this is where it comes into play that we've split up our numbers the way we did. I can go to the stem, that's a 1, and then look to see how many leaves that are 2s do I have next to that 1. Because remember, we're looking for 12. This is your stem. These are your leaves. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 leaves that are a 2. So that means 4 times she got a product of 12. How many more rolls of 20 were there than 4? Okay, I'm going to look at this again. I had 2 20s, right? 2 zeros next to the 2, that's a stem. So 2 20s, and I only had 1 4. So how many more 20s did I have than 4s? 1. How many rolls had a product of 6 and 20? All right, so I'm going to go look for the 6s first. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to look at the 20s. 1, 2, 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay? So that is how you break down a stem and leaf plot. Once again, you have to remember the stem is going to tell you where you are placing the numbers depending on their place value. You have to pay attention to the key. You have to pay attention to the key. It's going to tell you how to fill in your stem and leaf plot, okay? So this is just another video to help you out. You have a video in your Google Slides for you already. You also have a lot of different practice with you taking data and putting it into a stem and leaf plot. Let me know if you have any questions, okay guys? Bye.